All right, welcome back everyone for another week of Bunbury Saturday Metropolitan Racing.
Not being
Toby,
at
we have,
Belmont.
yeah, Belmont to Bunbury again. Continued again next week, I believe.
You can still purchase your tickets for the Punters Club in 2 weeks' time at Belmont Park, though. They won't be there, but you can purchase the tickets and deal with the logistics later, apparently, if you'd like.
Brilliant. We have eight race program on at the moment a soft six. What are you saying? Do you think it's going to be a bit of a better side of a soft six, worse side of a soft five, or?
I think it'll be pretty close to a 7 at the moment, just because it was pretty wet on Wednesday when we were there, and they got 20 mil of rain overnight last night. So I'd say it'll play like a 6. I suspect they'll upgrade it halfway through the day, even though I don't think it'll quite get to that point. But so not super wet, but definitely not dry.
Rail back to 3 meters. How do you think the track will play?
Rail 3 has been one of Bunbury's fairer rails since they've gone back there. Rail True a week and a half ago was pretty fence hot, I thought. They could make ground when they went hard enough, but expecting that, I think the lanes will be a bit fairer, but I still definitely would be leaning towards on speed at this stage.
Awesome. We have the one feature on the program. It's the listed 3-year-old set weights and penalties Racontua Stakes. 12 acceptors. How do you find the card in general, Toby?
Uh, Somewhat lackluster.
Yeah.
I think there are betting opportunities throughout. I don't think it's the worst Saturday card I've ever seen, but and there's some quality to it. The Raconteur is a really nice race. Would be nicer if September Born was there, but he's out for the winter. Neville Parnham just looking after him because he is a talent.
Absolutely. Let's get started. Race number one for the 2-year-olds over the 5 furlongs. Pure Excess 215, Baby Pearl 280, Cape Lewin 650, and $11 the rest.
Um, Relatively thin 2-year-old event. Think. I think there's only two really solid winning chances. Pure Excess was a really good trial leading into her debut. Time wasn't that good, but she just did it so very well the way she extended late. Sort of missed away a little bit slow into stride on debut. Went just back to the outside fence, which is the best part. And she got the runs. And if she'd got them earlier, she might have gone closer. But if she ducked back up the inside, I don't think she gets any closer to winning, in my opinion. Barrier 2 here helps. I think she can be closer. I think she'll jump a bit better second start. And the other one, of course, being Baby Pearl, who ran second to Luana Miss on debut, trialled nicely, then probably just I thought he looked like he didn't really get down the straight all that well. We saw Deep Speed go no good in that race after trialling up nicely and then absolutely killed them on Wednesday when leading around a bend. Think he crosses here. I think if he doesn't cross, it's probably advantage Pure Excess. If he does, I think it's advantage him. Don't think anything will be winning from behind Pure Excess. Um, like a Zali's give to. Trialled nice enough. I thought she was fine, but again, I think she'll just go back to last, and nothing else really stood out from the trials to me. A few of them were quite slow.
Yeah.
The times that is not being disparaging to the horses at this stage.
Yeah, no, look, I think you're completely right. It's not a deep 2-year-old race. I think it's just a classic it's a classic WA winter 2-year-old race. To be fair, I agree with you on Baby Pearl. If it can cross, and we put our trust into Jagsy here, but I think if it crosses, it can definitely go a couple better than last time out. And yeah, I mean, at the prices, you're 215, 280, the two top in the market, and I'd definitely rather lean towards Baby Pearl at the prices for sure. Um, Race number two is the 66 plus handicap over the 5 furlongs. Again, we have the horse in form, four on the line, My Hidden Universe 260, Prospectus Pick 440, Desert Whisper 480, Supernatural $6, and the People's Horse $11, Songer. And then
Good
upwards
horse.
the rest. How do you find this
Um,
one? Because you got a couple of girlfriends in this, Toby.
uh, Man, I'm sport for choice. I'm a big fan of My Hidden Universe. Thought they'd go to 12, second up, 1200. I thought he was good enough at the 1,000 to stick there. This is harder though. Again, don't think he leads. He doesn't jump clean enough to hold Desert Whisper, who absolutely flies. So I think he'll end up settling for OSL, depending on how Bayzid jumps. Bayzid can be a bit hit and miss from the barriers, whether he takes the cover on it or not. They're pretty happy to just sort of have him where he was comfortable last start, which I think is better at the 1,000. I don't think he's got the real leg speed to burn with them at 1,000 if the sit is there. Think he's a nice horse. Think he's your most likely winner. Think he's probably a little bit short up into this sort of grade, considering there's some nice horses in this prospector's pick. I obviously are trying to get him to sit and sell. They put the shadow roll on because he can get his head a bit high and lose his action. I think he'll get a quiet ride in this from 7 with all the other speed in it. And considering they want to teach him to, or try and teach him to settle, Desert Whisper, I think, will go better back around a bend and with no weight with Lucy on. And of course, the people saw Songer was a really good win first up last prep, beat Ginnivan, who would go close in a race like this. Trials were just okay, but that was only just okay last prep as well. If they make a bit of ground in the first, would be a more encouraging sign for him, but probably doesn't have to be too far back from 3. Makes a bit of appeal considering how good he's gone historically fresh in the West.
And in the wet as well. He loves to sting out.
He will
So
get through it.
yeah, I think you're right. I think Songer definitely spikes a bit of interest at a big price. I think for me, it's hard to go past My Hidden Universe. I know up in grade and has those barrier manners that sort of make you sort of concerned a little bit, but once he finds his feet,
The thing
he
from an inside gate though, he jumps well enough to hold a spot in a race like this. Like he won't miss away and get shuffled back. I don't
no,
think. I just don't
no,
think he'll lead,
yeah, yeah, and I mean,
which he
especially
doesn't
when you've
need to.
got no, he doesn't, and he proved that last start as well. He doesn't have to lead. I think he's still lightly raced 5-year-old, which and for me and Universal Ruler, we know that they swim. He's
We hear
unbeaten the sting out, so.
you hear Brandon Louis talk, and he's like just thinks he'd love to get him on a proper slot.
Yeah.
See how he goes then.
Yeah, so if it's like you suggested, if it's the better side of a soft 7 on Saturday, we might get to really see what he can do with the sting out. I think he's my clear on topper. That he's given me no reason to hop off. 4 in a line, make it 5. The interesting one is Supernatural from 1. It's frustrating because he's going to be a get back horse. He's going to swoop. But from 1, just gets locked away, doesn't he?
Probably still holds leaders back, which could both hurt or hinder. It might be a bit too close for it over the
Yeah,
short course to be leaders back, but I think that's the spot she gets. So
yeah. So yeah, interesting race behind the leading brigade. Like you said, prospectors pick having to get back and just try and learn some things. He's still, he's still got a huge rap on him, and he's always got such a short SP.
yeah,
So 440 here. I don't know if the SP profile is anchoring that down a little bit.
I thought the SP profile would anchor him down further. To be honest,
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. And then we've touched on Song already. So yeah, good little 66 plus there. Race number 3 is the 54 plus handicap over 1690 Royal Gap 290 Young Up Girl 550 YME 650. She's a Sheila 850 Imperialize 9 Master Tactician 9 and double figures the rest.
very thin race when you've got a maiden as a $12 chance and Royal Gap as a clear and deserving favourite. Look, not a heap to say. I think Royal Gap's absolutely flying this prep. If they can make a bit of ground and he gets a little bit of tempo, I really think he should be taking care of these off the runs he's put in. Was good first up over a trip too short for him behind one who was absolutely flying in Dirty Chai. It's now won three in the line, all in good time. And then the run behind Royal Gap was really good for Bohemian Diamond was really good for a long way back, and then got over the top of a few solid backmarkers last start in a race that was dominated from the speed, ran fourth. So if they can make ground, I really think he will be winning. Not a horse that I really want to dive into at a short quote, even though I can price him a bit shorter than what he is. Just isn't my modus operandi for the most part. So not a race I'm desperate to play into at this stage.
Yeah, I'm the same. I had no opinion on this wet speed platinum.
Re-handicapped West Speed Platinum. Worrying.
Race number 4 is 66 plus handicap over the 1690 again. We have First Encounter 290, Done with the Blues 650, Camera Action 7, Famous Dane 7, Ton of Grunt 11, Bellini Miss 14, and Double Figures the rest.
Tricky race. Not
Ricky
much speed.
race.
Not much speed at all. I thought Romeo, if no one else came out, would end up in front by default. I thought it was a good race for Lord Gannicus to go looking for the front. I thought his first up run was solid. Get Steve Parnham in the saddle, who is someone who I think should be able to notice that perhaps this is a chance to go forward and try and lead. Of the horses right in the market, First Encounter makes sense as favourite. Was well backed or well supported last start at Northam. Just got shuffled way too far back on a day where the fence was the best part of the track, came wide, and was, I thought, a much better run than Ton of Grunt, considering Ton of Grunt snuck up the fence. Now gets a better barrier than Ton of Grunt. Probably still doesn't get the amount of tempo he'd like, but is definitely getting fitter into this third up. 1690 probably helps. Probably one more start would really top him off out to like a 2,000 meter trip, I would say, but this definitely looks winnable. Done with the Blues. Pretty much the vast majority of her wins and best performances are first up. So interesting here, second up. Keeps Pike though, gets a pretty good map from barrier 3, I would have thought. Should be able to hold a head start on a few of her rivals. Camera Action loses Clint and probably didn't think she was looking for 1690. And Famous Dane looks very short back into a race like this that's a bit stronger than what he's been facing.
Yep. I hate to say it, I had nothing in this race again.
Yeah, this race is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those too hard basket for me. Apologies, viewers.
If you told me for sure Lord Gannicus would go forward, it'd get me for something. That's probably all I could really say.
Yeah, I mean, there's like you said, there isn't really a whole lot of speed in this, is there?
Nah,
So what's stopping him?
exactly. Just just whether you notice it or not.
Yeah. Race number 5 is the 60 plus handicap over 1200. We have the teaser of the century, Kraken Time 320, Regal Service $5,
New stable though,
Masamune, new stable, who knows? Who
ripped all
knows?
the gear off.
Regal Service $5, Masamune 750, Sure Thing 850, On Plein Air 9, Close Talker 950, and big double figures the rest of them.
I think your starting point has to be Kraken Time.
Has to be.
Went back to the trials after missing away for the second time in a row. Had one trial for Sharon Miller and then had about a month off and is now with Mitch Pateman. Had a trial for Mitch. It was solid. He jumped better. Still don't know that I want to be diving into $3.20 with his proclivities and the fact that the bars are going on. Think it looks awfully thin. but he could come out and absolutely smash them because he is chock full of ability. Um, but an easy one to risk for mine at such a price. Bit of speed in this, but from the inside draw, Sure Thing should be able to hold up. I think he thrives on high pressure, been going pretty good. This is a test because he's only been beating them in the country, but his graduation run was pretty solid. Had to sit OSL in a race where they ran along, stuck on for fourth behind Nobility, who's a 66 winner. So lucky and Canny Rock, one of Bruce K's, that go pretty good. So thought if they're leading, which you'll have some idea of by this time, that he would become a pretty good chance. Thought it was interesting. Regal Service was back in trip. He was a solid maiden win, looked like a horse that could progress through the grades a bit. Went to the Trader Sprint at Northern, was pretty well supported. Didn't get the greatest run through and got close to American Escape, who goes good enough herself. Just the barrier probably hurts him and wasn't sure about him back in trip. Masamune, best run this prep was on speed. Not sure he gets there from out there. Tricky little race. And Plein Air split a nice pair in Prospectors Pick and Let's Talk as well. So probably gets one of the better runs in the race as well.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I mean, obviously, like you said, cracking time, you automatically go to it. But bar plate's first time, trust issues, had to sort of let it go. Masamune, I really liked its run last start behind My Hidden Universe. It's having to loop the field. It's going to have
Yeah,
to do it again.
you just didn't think it was an overly winnable map.
Yeah, I mean, and then you've got the case of Pad's first time on the front as well. So yeah, a little bit concerning. But still, I think he's going well enough. Like what you said about Sure Thing, got nothing to disagree with you there. Um, yeah, Estimator fresh, but
It was a
from the
good
gate,
trial.
it was a good trial.
He's pretty quick. I think he gets to OSL. I think T Biscuit doesn't cross, and from there, you'd have to think they know that they won't be competitive. Just attack him the whole race and should be happy to take the cover 1-1. But you just never know sometimes.
Yeah, and look, I think the I could almost argue that whether the better for Estimator.
Yep.
So yeah, he's another one that could potentially pop up. But yeah, it's a story of the day. It's just a really it's a wide open race. I think this one. Um,
Yep.
yeah, was this first leg of the quaddy.
Yes, I was about to say, looking forward to doing the quaddy in this, or
Beautiful. I'd say Masamune, Sure Thing.
you got to put Kraken timing in.
You reckon?
You got to put him in the quad because he
Uh,
could come out and kill him. He's not that short. If he was 260, 250, sure, leave him out. But at above $3, he goes in.
Okay. All right. So Masamune, Sure Thing, Kraken Time,
Probably throw
and
in N Plane Air.
Plein Air, and throw Estimator in.
He see what the track's doing.
Yeah. Ah,
Monitor the track.
yeah. Race number 6 is the 60 plus over 1400 meters. We have Mount Shirataku 220 returned off a nice break and it's gone win-win to resume. Kalima $7, Rally the Troops $8 coming up off 2 wins as well. Ideally 950, Simply Thinking 10, King of Keat 15, and double figures the rest. One big market mover in this one, Toby.
Yes, one big market mover off. I would have to think an error in missing a decimal point, but I'm sure there are still plenty of punters, including myself, who attempted to get on. Probably, well, I didn't, but even if I did, I would expect my bet to be voided, and that's okay. It's in the terms of service. In Missile Storm, 150s, very good price. Uh, I'll start off by talking about him. He was good first up last prep, well supported. Ran second to Axman's Jazz, who won at least one race after that. I think he might have gone a miss again. Um, they spaced third. He then put together two really nice wins, and then wasn't suited when leaders back in the most recent tipped out. He's a chance, but obviously the market has well, Mountjoy Taku well found and understandably so. He's absolutely smashed them in two starts back. First run wasn't anything super duper on the clock. It was solid, but um, yeah, just not outstanding. And then last start went to the front. Didn't go around too quick. There were quicker races on the day, but got home in some similar sections to like Love and War and the Boss Lady. Yeah, won the Belmont Sprint. They were running some slick sections all day, but he was very slick himself. Interesting to see what they do here because they went forward and took the bull by the horns last start. They're not going to cross looks, but it'd be a good race just to come out, get straight outside looks, and then look to take the cover on something, sit 1-1 and peel out again. But I don't know, Pike sort of just rides to feel a lot of the time. So he makes sense as your favourite. He's very short, but he looks a pretty progressive 3-year-old. So that is one of the kinds of things that I like at this time of year, but I don't think you'll get me at $2.15. Interesting what the market does late because there's a few horses that really should take up some market percentage here. Kalima, one of them, Barrier Hertz, hasn't really won outside of first up. Also Hertz. Rally the Troops has shown a really nice turn of foot, his last two being ridden colder. Just Barrier 8 could spot Mount Shirotako a head start. And Missile Storm, as I mentioned, who goes good enough.
Correct.
Anything?
Outside of the favourite, there's not much, but I can't hip into 250 from barrier 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, 220 from barrier 10. I think it's just a touch too short. Um, but yeah, it could just be the classic, Grant Alana 3-year-old that just makes its ways through the grades and continues to, beat up on. I
If it
won't.
was in Cerise and White and this was 5 years ago, you'd say, $2.20. Thank
Well,
you very
hello,
much.
thank you.
How much would you like to take at said price? But
How much am I allowed to borrow? Yeah, no, you're completely right. You are completely right. So you drawing a line between that? Are you saying that this could be peak peak Cerise and White areas?
no, I don't
Ooh,
think I don't think they're there yet. Nah, nah, it's different. It's just different. It was different back
it
then.
feels different, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was Mount Shirataku on top, but I didn't really have much to beat it. Yeah, ideally beat up on
Nothing.
some nothing. But in that saying that, Mount Shirataku's beat up on nothing as well.
Yeah, but Mount Shirotako bet up on nothing more impressively.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's for sure. But Mickey Grantham is absolutely humming, is he not?
Going pretty good.
Yep. Quaddy.
Uh, oh,
Oof.
look, I'm happy to go one out if you are. It feels dangerous, but I'm happy to.
It does feel really dangerous. We're due to land a quaddy as well. 'Cause what did we go one out last week? Was it Magnificent Andy? Or was it Love and War that we
No,
went
no.
one out?
It was the last. It was Love and War.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Um,
No, go one out.
yeah.
Yep.
Mount Shirataku one out. Race number 7, the listed 3-year-old set weight and penalties Raconteur Stakes over the 7 furlongs. We have Storybill 260, Elite Missile 550, Pondmaster 8, Losers William Pike, Wind in the Line 850, Opportunistic $9, coming off that maiden win. Awesome Boy $12 and $13 the rest of them.
Uh, Gets a pretty good map here, Storyville, you would say.
Yep, definitely.
She's going to have at least 3 lengths on what I would consider her three biggest dangers class wise at this stage in Pond Master, Wind and the Lion, and Elite Missile. Elite Missile and Wind and the Lion through their draws, and Pond Master through his tendency to miss away.
Yeah.
Think Awesome Boy leads. Think God's Gate sits a Westell, and then Storyville is either 1-1 or 1-2. I think that's a pretty good spot. Her trials were solid. Her first up run was really good from a long way back without heaps of room. Carried more weight than Love and War. Ran a similar last 600, and Love and War, they're talking about a railway. So, 58 here looks. Look, she's carrying more than the boys, but she's won the races to deserve to do that. She's won a Guineas. So, what more would you like her to do? Like I say, she just gets a pretty good setup here to make it a win this campaign. Probably what I thought became the biggest danger was Awesome Boy, just because he'll be in front of her. If you take him off his win 2 starts ago, he would go very close to winning. I like the prep. Off a bit of a, not a failure, but probably just didn't run a strong 16 the way he settles at the moment. I think he'll get there. So freshened up back to 14. If it's playing real leadery, I think he becomes your biggest danger for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I think the thing with Pondmaster I don't like is losing William Pike with his
Oh
tendency
yeah.
to miss away as well.
Lucy's
Um,
probably one of the better riders then for that because they just sort of go for it.
they go for her, but she's also not aggressive enough.
She's getting there, but as well, it's not about being aggressive. You just want him to not miss away as
Yeah,
well. So I think that is also another help.
yeah, fair. Okay, I
But
take
he's
what you
done it in
said
his
on board.
last three. He's done it in his
Yeah,
last three. So
that's true.
I think it's safe enough. Although one of them was the barrier's fault for not opening on time, and that's okay.
That's fine.
Finish second,
Um,
so win punters, just cop it. Unlucky.
look, the one for me, and it's a massive step up, but they don't do it very often. Maiden into a listed race, second start, opportunistic. The way it won that maiden,
Yep.
and you know,
And off fence on a real fancy day. The time
just
wasn't. I would have wanted to see him do a little bit more on the clock to get really up and
uh,
about for him,
I
but
was I was about to say on the clock, probably not as
it was fine.
um, it was fine, but God, he was
But
just he
yeah,
was under a stranglehold towards the line that last 100, wasn't
and there
he?
was that money. That money was there, although some of it was just the inefficient early markets, but it was sustained. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see what the market does. I imagine they don't particularly, especially times punters won't
I'm
jump
thinking
into
you
him.
can't get much. Although, if the right people come for it, knowing the opinions there, you never know.
Yeah, yeah. See if Uncle Bob sends out the text.
If Uncle Bob opens up the wallet,
Is he ever? He's never.
I
He's
don't.
not a punter, is he?
From what I've heard, the most he punts is on horses that he sells the next start.
So it's one that I'm just keeping an eye on. That's opportunistic. I just love the style of its win on debut. It's obviously a massive jump up in grade to go into a listed race, especially when you got proven horses in there. Like you've got your Wind and the Lion, you got your Pondmaster who's returned superbly but struggles out of the gates, and then obviously you've got Storyville who just beat up um, all the 3-year-old features in the summer. So for me, I'm Storyville on top. Like everything you mentioned was spot on. Map's perfect, just feels right. Um, and I have Opportunistic, who's the fresh blood on the scene, in for second elect. 11, Quaddy.
I was going to say just wait and see what the again if it's they're not making heaps of ground. I'd say you could almost just go 2 and 5
Yeah, you
But
could.
if the track looks a bit fairer, then you end up going a bit wider, and I think you'd go 2, 3, 4, and 11. But that again is just a wait and see.
Yeah. So those that are in the Slack channel, keep an eye out for Toby's final quaddy numbers.
And
They'll
make
come
sure
through.
to ask about them because I'm very forgetful.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Getting into the lucky last 72 plus handicap over the 6 furlongs, we have Drakena, $3.40, Rich and Co. 360, Hanchy 550, and double figures the rest of the field.
Yeah, and looks a good race for Rodchenko to lead and win again, I would think.
I would 100% agree. The
I don't
only
think
question I'd have is they've run him at 1,000 3 times in a row
I think he's a
to
1200
12.
meter horse.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's 3 wins from 5 starts over the 6 furlongs, so I don't understand the prep so far.
I think it's just about get been getting been getting been hmm,
Hmm.
been about getting him to settle. There we go.
Okay.
And I think now I think he'll bounce out himself, and then they'll just keep him in that rhythm. I don't think there's anything that wants to desperately take him on, so I think he stays in front. And from there, he'll travel boldly and give a good kick into the corner. And I think last start probably wasn't, it was impressive enough, but Hanchy probably looked a better run. But what he gets this time is he gets the rail, which I think he goes better following, especially still at this stage of his career. So he can kick nicely off the corner and go pretty close. I would have thought Drakena, there's been good money for. There was good money for last start. I think he will just continue to get better, but just think Rodchenko's got that bit of X factor about him at this stage. A lot of the rest of them are just, I think, might struggle from their barriers. Keep it a mystery if he drew to be like 1-1 or even just sit a nice, soft OSL. Could go close. He'd been going well against Rodchenko, doesn't get weight swings anymore with the apprentice coming off, but gets Lucy, which is a big help. Royal Tornado, I thought was a good run, but want to see him over further. Hanchy probably waiting for Chris Parnham to get back from injury and get in the saddle. Uh, yeah, I think it looks a nice race for Rodchenko. Should they
Yeah, I think
be leading?
yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I think Brad Parnham and Rudchenko I mean, they haven't put a foot wrong this prep so far. There's nothing that suggests that they will. The only potential concern would be that 1200 and just how he looked to, what's the word I'm looking for? He was sort of stopping a little bit quickly at the end of that last
I
start.
don't,
But
I don't think he was. I think he was just struggling with not going straight. I think that's the main thing Brad Parnham was probably worried about, especially
yeah,
late in the 1,000 meter race. A lot of them can start rolling down and then they just keep rolling down. So,
yeah, that's true. Was that his first time down the straight as well?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you can potentially forgive that. And I think, yeah, there's absolutely no reason why he can't win again. Um, Definitely a race for. I would like to see Sunny Honey. I think Sunny Honey was a big run last start. Big run last start.
Yeah, just
Three
prefer
deep, the
him.
trip,
Still
no
prefer him
cover.
that one grade down, carry a bit more weight. At, yeah, until he gets that confidence boosting win.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Rich and Cho, Rich and Rich and
Welcome to
Co.
the club.
Yeah, fuck, Rich and Co. On top for me. Sunny Honey in for second, just at a bigger price. Quaddy.
Uh, Definitely got to include the two favourites. Apart
Yep.
from that, Sunny Honey and or keep it a mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, why
Yes
not?
to both,
It's got
or
yeah. I mean, it's got form behind both of them, both the top two on the market.
yep,
Um, so yeah, yep. All right. Um,
best bet, Kev.
that was coming. My best bets. I'm not hopping off my hidden universe. Very keen about it. Think he just finds his finds another great race for him. Just continues to put one foot forward in front of the other and make almost every post a winner. It'll take a pretty good one to have to run him down if he's left in front with 200 to go. Um, Toby, are you on track tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll head down. I don't
Yep.
think I've got a free ride, but I'll make my way down.
Uh, Viewing. So you'll be all hands on deck with your Mounty Yard mail. Fantastic. Have you chucked prices into the channel?
Not yet. Been a bit busy the last uh day and a bit, so I will do those as soon as we finish this.
Awesome. And this afternoon, for anyone that might be watching straight away, anything at Carnarvon?
Not for free. There's not.
Hey? Love it. All right. We'll keep an eye on the chat room and go well at Royal Narv.
Will do.
See you, Toby.
Goodbye, Kev.